Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here, doing a full review on the Samsung Galaxy S5. I've actually been using it for quite a long time now, and I do have a lot to say about it, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is categorize each section of this video, and I'm going to go ahead and throw a table of contents in the description so you can click through, skip any parts you don't want to see. So I'm going to go ahead and cover as much as I can in a short amount of time as I can, and then at the end I'll give you some final thoughts on the device, let you know if I think you should buy it, etc. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the Galaxy S5. Alright, so here's a much closer look at the device. First of all, I want to go ahead and talk about the hardware and the design of the device itself. So flipping it on over, on the back you will see that it does have an interesting texture to it. It does add some grip. Just these dots on the back. If you own an original Nexus 7, it's very similar to that, if to put that into perspective. But I do like the grip that it does add. Some people don't like the look of it. I don't mind it at all, as long as you get the like a darker color. If you get the gold, it doesn't look very good. But anyways, I don't mind it myself. You'll see on the back there's a speaker. I'm not a big fan of it being on the back. I prefer the front, like the HTC One. And then also you have a 16 megapixel camera and LED flash, and you also have a heartbeat sensor, which I'll show off in just a bit, that you stick your finger there, so it's not just a flash that's there underneath the camera. Down at the bottom you'll see you do have a charging port, USB 3.0, which allows for faster data transfer speeds and faster charging when you plug it into your computer. You'll see you also need to have a flap here, which can get pretty tedious when you want to charge your device because you have to uncover it every time, but I do understand why it's there. It is IP certified, IP67 certified, which means that it is water and dust resistant. So I'm sure you've seen the commercials where they have spilled water on it and it's just fine. I wouldn't recommend purposefully spilling water on your device, but if it accidentally happens, it's good to know that you should be pretty secure when it comes to spilling water on it. Don't submerge it in water or do anything on purpose, honestly. On the right side you do have a single power button. On the left side you have volume rockers. On the top you have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and on the front you have a home button as well. On the bottom right you'll see you have two capacitive buttons, a back button and a recent running apps button as well. So they do not have on-screen buttons on the Galaxy S5. They decided to stick with the capacitive buttons. If you have an S3, S4, you're probably used to a menu button being down there. They have switched that to a recent running apps button. Now it does have a 5.1 inch Super AMOLED display. It is full HD, 1080 by 1920 pixels and 432 ppi pixels per inch. The screen is fantastic, honestly. It looks good inside and outside. Overall, I do really like the screen. The size is perfect for me. I prefer this specific size screen. A 5-inch screen is ideal for me. And just the device itself fits well in your hand. So when it comes to design, they did a good job. It is made of plastic, so it is lighter than other metal-based devices, but some people might not like the plastic. I don't mind it myself. It does kind of give it maybe a somewhat of a cheaper feel to it, but it also might protect the device a little bit more if you drop it or anything like that. Just some other notable specs. It does have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 processor. I believe it runs at 2.5 gigahertz. It's a quad-core. It's a great processor, one of the best ones out on the market right now for mobile phones. So I mean, honestly, you can't get much better with that. It also has 2 gigabytes of RAM, which is interesting because the Galaxy Note 3 had 3 gigabytes, and you would think they would kind of keep that running with their flagship devices, but they decided to go with 2 gigabytes of RAM. So kind of interesting there. It does have a micro SD card slot. You have to peel off the back, which you can do. You can actually just take the back right off, and you do have a micro SD card slot right there. You also notice there is more of a seal around here, which also helps with that water resistance and dust resistance as well. Interesting shaped battery. I mean, it's nothing bad. It's just got an interesting shape to it, honestly. The battery itself is 2,800 milliamp hours. I'll get to that in just a little bit. But now I want to go ahead and talk about the camera. As I said, it has a 16 megapixel camera on the back of the device itself. There are a lot of different modes and options within it. You got beauty, face shot, and more, panorama, virtual tour, dual camera, where it uses the back and front camera. And then also obviously a video recording mode. You can record in 4K on this. I do have a video posted on YouTube. I'll link to it now in the description or somewhere, where I do have a video camera test using the rear camera on this device. Go ahead and you can obviously switch to the front with that button. There is the camera and me. You can go ahead and switch back if you'd like to. Also go into settings, and there's just a ton of them in here. You can change your picture size, burst shots where you press and hold the button and it just continuously takes pictures. You can change the ISO, just video size, flash. As you can see, there's just a ton of different options within this application. You can switch to HDR mode very quickly by pressing that button, and then you can also do selective focus, which is kind of like the HTC One, where you can specifically focus on something and then take a picture, and I believe it blurs out the rest of it, the rest of the image. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So yeah, I mean, honestly, there it is. It doesn't look like anything crazy. You don't need it for professional shots, but you can do some cool features with it. Otherwise, it takes fantastic pictures. Honestly, this is probably my favorite camera on any smartphone out at the moment. You'll see, I mean, honestly, the detail that comes out, the colors look fantastic. You'll see, just scanning around to this picture alone, just you can see the detail and just how fantastic it honestly looks. Let's go ahead and go to this picture. You'll see I'll zoom in a lot on this flower, and you'll see the colors still look good. It doesn't look too fuzzy. Obviously, when you zoom in, it's going to not be as clear, but you'll see how much I zoomed in, and it still looked pretty great. So, as I said, one of the best cameras out right now on any smartphone. So if you're someone that takes a lot of pictures with your smartphone, definitely recommend the Galaxy S5, because, as I said, it does have one of the best cameras out there. When it comes to battery life, as I said, battery life is very, very good on the Galaxy S5. It is a little bit better than the HTC One M8. You really can't go wrong with the battery on this. It's probably going to last you all day. I use it heavily, and it works great. Honestly, you'll see right now I'm at 60%. I've used it for 6 hours today. I have an hour and a half screen on time, so overall it's been great. Battery life, I cannot complain at all about it. So if you are looking for a device and upgrade with a phone with a good battery, definitely recommend the Galaxy S5. The S5's battery isn't as good as the Note 3's. The Note 3's is still the best in my opinion right now, but it still has a fantastic battery life on the device. Alright, so something I also want to show off is gaming on the device. Also, I want to make a quick note of those pictures that I showed when I showed off the camera. You could really see the colors on the screen as well pop. I mean, when I transfer the photo to my computer, that's going to look great. But when you look at it on the screen as well, it just looks fantastic. So loading up a game, we can go ahead and hit play. This is Asphalt 8, in case you were wondering. Just want to go ahead and show you, I guess, load time and just what it looks like. Another way to kind of test the screen and just show you how well the processor runs apps. And then after gaming, I do want to get to the software side of things, which is something I really want to talk about. But anyways, let's go ahead and run this. See, getting a phone call in the house right now, if you can hear that. But anyways, running through this game, I believe I've touched a turn on. I do. There we go. It's hard to see through the camera, but it's no big deal, honestly. There's a crash. You'll see no stuttering at all. Load time didn't take long at all. I mean, running any app, it's going to be pretty fluid, and you really won't have to wait a long time for the app to load. So overall, I'd say it's a great gaming device. The screen, obviously the colors look good. If I can go ahead and just kind of make some new colors and such. So there we go. Overall, like I said, gaming on the device is fine. You have no real issues there with loading up apps. I mean, specific apps I'll get to in just a second when I talk about software can kind of have issues, but let's go ahead and that's gaming for you. I mean, nothing crazy, but I mean, it performs how it should, honestly. There's no stutter, no lag, so let's go ahead and go back home. Okay, now one of the main things I want to talk about this device is the software. It comes shipped with Android 4.4.2 KitKat with a TouchWiz overlay, which Samsung develops themselves. So I want to go ahead and go into settings here. First of all, the settings menu is awful. I cannot stand it at all. It's just these large icons. They try and group them and categorize them. I've used this device for a long time, and I'm still not used to where each specific setting is. I really have to go through and find them. It's just a huge pain. I don't know what they were thinking. I understand them trying to revamp the settings menu in Android, but not the way that they did it here. So that's just one gripe that I have about the software itself. Pull down the notification bar. You'll see you do have quick settings up at the top, which I like a lot. Honestly, I like having these toggles here, but there's no way to toggle off Quick Connect or S-Finder, which I have not used once while I've owned this device. So it just takes up room there. I wish you could get rid of it, but there's no way that I know of that you can. Another quick toggle toolbox is actually a cool one. Just this little icon that you can float around, put anywhere on the screen, and when you tap on it, it brings up a list of apps. You can customize them as well within settings, if you can find them in the settings. But so if you want to go ahead and open up a calculator, it'll bring it up real quick. If you want to go back to the camera, it'll load up the camera real quick. So as you can see, it's a pretty nifty tool. It's called Toolbox, just to open up apps and I guess multitask easier. So go ahead and go back to settings here. While in settings, I want to go ahead and you'll see there's a finger scanner here, which I want to show off real quick. It says one fingerprint is registered. We can go ahead and register another one. So we can go ahead and swipe down. It says no match. No match. It's honestly kind of a pain to do that. So you'll see it took me 3 times to do that, which was my right thumb to be registered. So let's go ahead and register another finger. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Let's go ahead and use my pointer finger on my right hand, and you just kind of keep swiping down. One main thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that it is vertical. I tried doing it horizontal or kind of at an angle, and it really didn't work. It didn't register very well. So one unfortunate thing is that you really need to have it vertically up and down. So there we go. I register that one. Now what I want to do is go ahead and go into the lock screen settings and make sure that I have it on fingerprint. Now when I lock the screen and unlock it, you'll see it'll bring up the lock screen, obviously. You do have an alternative password, which I don't remember what I set, so hopefully my fingerprint works. But yeah, you'll see I can just swipe down and it says recognize. One thing I don't like about this, I guess the one thing to compare it to would be the iPhone. Would be on the iPhone you just set your finger down and it scans your finger. With this you have to actually physically move down and for it to recognize the device itself. My thumb is registered as well, and when you hold the device you want to use it horizontally and swipe it down, but you kind of have to readjust and swipe down vertically. It's kind of a pain. Sometimes it works when you do it like this, like that, so but other times it just does not work. I would say it's more of a pain than a convenience. At this point they just need to kind of make it better, honestly, and make it easier to access. So hopefully in the future they can improve upon the technology for this fingerprint scanning. I personally don't use it. Some people might like it, some people don't. I mean, it's a great security feature because obviously no one has a similar fingerprint to yourself. So it's great in my opinion, but it just isn't very functional at the moment, so I don't use it. Now another feature on the S5 is that of kind of going towards the healthy side with S Health. They do have I guess a heartbeat sensor that you can actually check. There's a pedometer as well. So let's go ahead and check our heart rate right now. You can go ahead and press that. The heart rate sensor is on the back here, so you'll see it's on the right side. The left side's the flash, the right side is the heart rate sensor. I'm gonna go. It says try to keep still, it says try to keep quiet. Alright, so it says place your finger on the sensor. I will do so, and once it senses it, it will light up. There we go, it says finish. So I'm at 69 beats per minute, which is a little higher than where I'm at, obviously because I've been talking and doing this video, so that's kind of understandable. That was probably my resting heart rate, around 60 beats per minute usually, so it makes sense for it to be about 10 beats per minute higher. So it's a kind of a neat feature, honestly, if you're someone that's really into working out and doing healthy things. It's nice that that's included. I don't know the amount of people that get into that. Maybe if you want to check calories, steps, all that kind of stuff. You have pedometer, exercise, so it's kind of a neat app itself. I don't use it too much, honestly. I like to kind of, maybe after I go for a run, check my heart rate and make sure I'm at a fat burning rate, etc. But overall, if you're into that working out, it's a nice feature. But anyways, getting onto that software, like I said, it's TouchWiz. I honestly think it is too bloated in and of itself, which slows down some system apps. Opening the messaging app can be kind of slow at times. Just kind of certain specific apps can kind of lag a little bit just because it feels like it's so bloated when you open things up just with the software itself. Unfortunately, honestly, and I can pretty much guarantee that's what it is. When I compared the HTC One M8 and the S5, that's kind of one of the main things I said, is how Sense is more minimal than TouchWiz, which makes it quicker. So overall, they could do a better job at not making it more of like bloatware as opposed to it just kind of being nice features at it. It seems like they threw a lot of features into the device itself and just kind of forgot about speed of the system itself. So a nice feature though about it is go ahead and press and hold the back arrow, or you can pull down the notification bar. It's up there as well. It's called multi-window, so I turned it on by doing that. I can press it again and it should bring open a list of applications. So if I want to go ahead and drag my files up there, and then if I wanted to go ahead and let's say I wanted to go ahead and put S Finder right there. So there we go. We got 2 apps open at once. You can use both of them. You can resize them, you'll see. If I want to switch, I can just tap up at the top here and it's switched to that one, and I can use the back arrow how I normally would within the application since it's using that specific application. So if I want to go to recent files, it says none. But yeah, it's really great when you're doing specific things. If I'm watching a YouTube video and maybe I want to respond to a text message but don't want to exit out of the app because, of course, YouTube doesn't run in the background, it's nice. It's a really nice feature to use while doing that. That's one of the main times that I do use the multi-window feature of using these 2 apps at once. So it's kind of cool. Honestly, I do like the multi-window feature at specific times. Also, with the recent running apps button, some people like having that as opposed to the settings button. Honestly, it doesn't really matter to me because I can get used to it either way. Multitasking is pretty quick. It doesn't take a long time to load up the applications after, so you'll see loading up that game again. It looks like it didn't run in the background, which is okay, totally understandable, honestly, because I was going through so many apps. Honestly, it probably would have did that on any other Android device as well, so don't hold it against the S5. Also, when you press and hold the home button, it brings up Google Now as well, so you do have that. Of course, it being an Android device, so you can check all your stocks, all that good stuff. So go ahead and back out of that. Anyways, that's enough about the software. That's pretty much everything I did want to show on the device itself. Now I'm going to go ahead and just give you some final thoughts on it. Alright, so as I said, that's about all I wanted to cover on the Galaxy S5. Hopefully this video was informative. Just want to give some final thoughts on the device itself. As I said, there are a lot of fantastic things about the device. The battery life, the camera. Like I said, camera is one of the best out there right now. So as I said, if you take a lot of pictures, definitely go with the S5. But like I said, the screen's great. The software has some good features to it, but honestly, in my opinion, they really need to revamp TouchWiz and do a better job on it itself, just so it integrates with Android itself. I do like stock Android, vanilla Android, like on the Nexus 5. It's so fluid, so quick, it's just great. And then you add this overlay, which can add great features. Honestly, some features on the S5 that the Nexus 5 doesn't have are great, but then you also kind of bring on a lot of heavy software over on top of Android, so it can kind of slow it down at specific times. It's not like it's all the time it's slow. As you saw me loading up a game, it didn't take long at all. So like I said, it's just a personal opinion when it comes to the software. Like I said, battery life is great as well. So overall, a very good device. You might not like the design, the plastic. You might want to go with maybe a more metal device. I know the LG G3's coming out very soon, along with obviously the HTC One M8 already being out. So it's a personal preference of yours, but that's my thoughts. Like I said, great device. If you have an S4, I wouldn't necessarily recommend upgrading to an S5. I wouldn't say it's worth the big jump to it. So overall, if you have an S3, definitely consider getting an S5 if you really like the S3, or if you want to go with a different company. Obviously, there's other great devices out there. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment. If you want to hear me talk about something else in future review videos, please let me know. Your feedback's very important to me. As always, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to me as well. Be doing many future videos. I expect to do a Google Glass review video very soon. Sorry it's taking me so long for that, but anyways, as always, thanks for watching, guys.